In the noisy streets of Lagos, where horns are louder than prayers and traffic can test your salvation, a 12-year-old mechanic boy was crawling under broken cars with oil-stained hands and empty pockets. They laughed at him. They called him small boy. They said, "Mechanic no day become billionaire." But one day, a luxury car refused to start. Senior mechanics failed. The owner was impatient, and the only person who dared to touch the engine was that small, stubborn boy. What did he see that others didn't? How did a boy who held torchlights in Mushin rise to sit in boardrooms in Victoria Island? And what shocking decision did he make the night someone tried to steal his invention? This isn't just a story about money. It's about Lagos hustle. It's about laughter in the middle of struggle. It's about turning Greece into grace. Stay tuned, because the engine of destiny is about to roar. If you love inspiring Nigerian stories filled with comedy, hustle, and big success, like this story, subscribe for more powerful tales of rising from nothing to everything. The next story might just be the one that changes your mindset forever. In the ever-busy streets of Lagos, where traffic jams have PhD and Danfo conductors can insult you poetically, there lived a 12-year-old mechanic boy named Kola. Kola was not born into comfort. He was born into hustle. While other boys were playing football and arguing about who is better between Messi and that your village striker, Kola was already inside engines, wearing grease like expensive perfume. Grease was his uniform. Every morning before sunrise, Kola would arrive at Mushin Mechanic Village. His responsibilities: sweep the workshop, arrange tools, fetch pure water, hold torchlight like it was Olympic responsibility. His boss, Baba Sakiru, had 2 volumes, loud and louder. "Kola, bring 14mm spanner." He would run like someone shouted, "Free food!" But what made Kola different wasn't speed. It was how he looked at engines. Not like metal, but like mystery. While others were joking and arguing about arsenal, Kola would stare quietly at the car's wiring, studying how everything connected. Sometimes Baba Sakiru would ask, "Why you day lookum like that? You want marry the engine?" Kola would just smile. Inside, his brain was working overtime. The luxury car that caused panic. One hot afternoon, a shiny Toyota Corolla drove into the yard. The car was so clean that even dust avoided it. The owner stepped out in dark sunglasses, wristwatch shining like Lagos traffic light at midnight. "I need this fixed fast," he said calmly. The engine refused to start. Senior mechanics gathered around like emergency doctors. They checked battery. They checked spark plugs. One mechanic even tapped the engine 3 times and whispered, "Start in Jesus' name." Nothing. The car remained stubborn. Sweat began forming. Because in Lagos, when rich customer frowns, workshop temperature increases. Small boy, big courage. Kola had been watching quietly. The sound the car made when trying to start? He had heard something similar before. His heart was beating like generator on overload. He cleared his throat. "Oga, make I check?" Silence. Baba Sakiru looked at him. "You? Go and bring pure water jar." But the car owner raised his hand. "Let him try." Now everybody turned to Kola like he was about to perform magic. He lay flat on the dusty ground and crawled under the car. Dust entered his nose. Grease entered his hair. Fear entered his chest. But confidence entered his hands. He noticed a loose sensor connection others had overlooked. Carefully, he tightened it. Add just a small wire. Tap gently. He stood up slowly. "Try him now, sir." The owner turned the key. Vroom! The engine roared like it had been sleeping peacefully. The entire workshop froze. Even the mechanics that were chewing groundnuts stopped mid-chew. The moment that shifted everything. The rich man stepped out, removed his sunglasses slowly. "Who fixed it?" Kola raised his oily hand. "Me, sir." The man stared at him for a long moment, then smiled. "What's your name?" "Kola." "Well, Kola, you won't remain under cars forever." He handed him a business card. That small rectangular paper felt heavier than a toolbox. Lagos took note. After the car left, Baba Sakiru looked at Kola differently. Not just as small boy, but as potential. The other mechanics teased him. So you don't become engineer? Kola laughed shyly. But deep down, something had changed. In a city like Lagos, where survival is competitive and destiny is noisy, a 12-year-old mechanic boy had just quietly switched on his future. And that roar from the Corolla? It wasn't just engine sound. It was destiny starting up. After the Corolla miracle, Kola's name began spreading around Mushin Mechanic Village like hot umla on Sunday afternoon. Call that small boy. The one-way fix big man car. The one-way sabi engine pass his age. But popularity did not change his bank account. It was still doing fasting and prayer. And in Lagos, fame without money is just noise. The business card like prophecy. That business card the rich man gave him? Kola wrapped it inside nylon like it was gold. Every night before sleeping, he would bring it out and stare at the bold title, Chief Executive Officer. He tried pronouncing it slowly. Chief, Yexi, Cut, Type. He nodded to himself. One day, my own name go long past this. But dreaming in Lagos without action is like waiting for fuel price to reduce. You'll grow beard. So Kola acted. Leaking Wi-Fi, growing vision. Every evening after work, instead of following his friends to gist and play football, Kola trekked to Surulere. There was a small cybercafe close to a busy bus stop. Their Wi-Fi leaked outside like neighborhood gossip. Kola positioned himself near the window like undercover agent. Phone in hand. Zero data. Maximum determination. He watched videos about engine technology, electric vehicles, fuel efficiency systems, business strategies. Sometimes the video would freeze. He would whisper angrily, "Network, don't block my destiny." One evening, the cafe owner stepped outside. "You again? You no get house?" Kola smiled respectfully. "Oga, knowledge no day pursue person." The man laughed so hard he had just his glasses twice. From that day, he allowed Kola sit inside after closing hours. Not fully free, but enough to grow. Mechanic by day, scientist by night. Back at the workshop, something changed. Kola stopped just repairing. He started experimenting. "Oga, if we add just this air intake small." Senior mechanics would look at him suspiciously. "Boy, are you repairing car or writing WAC?" But when customers started returning saying their fuel lasted longer, the same mechanics began boasting. "Nah, our workshop train am." Lagos people no day reject success. They just like to claim connection later. The first attempt that almost caused wahala. Kola's first prototype? Disaster. Serious one. He installed it in one taxi driver's car. The engine started smoking like suya stand. The driver jumped out shouting, "Ah, you won roast my engine." Everybody laughed. Even Kola laughed. Because in Lagos, if you don't laugh at failure, failure will embarrass you publicly. Instead of quitting, he returned to his research. Back to Surulere Wi-Fi. Back to trial and error. Back to stubborn belief. The breakthrough that made noise. After months of adjusting, testing, and nearly frying engines, Kola finally built a small device. Simple, affordable, powerful. He installed it quietly in a regular customer's car. 1 week later, the man came back shouting happily, "Kola, wetin you do? My fuel no day disappear again." People gathered immediately. In Lagos, anything that saves money attracts crowd faster than free concert. Soon, drivers lined up, not just for repairs, but for that small boy magic, the bigger vision. While others celebrated small success, Kola was thinking bigger. If this device could help 10 drivers, why not 100? Why not 10,000? Why not all of Lagos? That leaking Wi-Fi outside a small cybercafe had done more than teach him engines. Connected a mechanic boy to global ideas. And slowly, the boy who once held torchlight was becoming the light. By the time Kola turned 19, Mushin Mechanic Village no longer called him small boy. Now they called him Engineer Kola. No certificate, no graduation gown, just pure results. Because in Lagos, respect is not printed on paper. It's earned with performance. The device that reduced tears at petrol stations. Kola's fuel-saving device was small, about the size of a power bank. But the impact, massive. drivers started noticing something strange. Their fuel was lasting longer. One Danfo driver testified loudly, "Before, I day see petrol station like every 2 days. Now, my fuel day behave like it fear cola." Another driver whispered, "This boy no be ordinary mechanic o." The workshop turned into discussion ground. Some believed, some doubted, some just wanted discount. But one thing was clear, cola was no longer just tightening bolts. He was changing how engines behaved. When big men came calling. One afternoon, the same rich man whose Corolla Cola once fixed returned. This time, he came with 2 serious-looking men. Their shoes were shining. Their perfume entered before them. Baba Sakiru quickly cleaned his hands on his shirt like he was about to meet Governor. "Cola," the rich man called calmly. "We've been hearing about your innovation." The whole workshop became quiet. Even Hammer stopped mid-air. They asked Cola to explain how the device worked. Now here was the issue. Cola understood engines deeply. But grammar? He started confidently. "It improves combustion efficiency and regulates airflow optimization inside the engine." He paused. One investor blinked slowly. Cola quickly simplified. "It helps fuel last longer without stressing the engine." All 3 nodded immediately. In Lagos, simple explanation beats big English. The question that nearly scattered him. One investor leaned forward. "What is your business plan?" Silence. Cola had engine plan, wire plan, screwdriver plan, but business plan? He scratched his head and answered honestly. "To stop Nigerians from crying at petrol stations." They burst into laughter, but not mocking laughter, respectful laughter, because clarity is powerful. The first real money. They didn't hand him billions immediately. "Calm down. This is Lagos, not magic." But they offered funding for testing, production, registration, distribution. When they mentioned the amount, Cola's heart nearly skipped like generator without fuel. He forced himself to stay calm. Inside, he was screaming. Later, Baba Sakiru whispered, "If you faint, they go think say you know serious." Cola nodded quickly. Jealousy entered the chat. As his innovation grew, so did side comments. One mechanic muttered loudly, "He just copy something from internet." Another said, "Nah luck." Cola heard everything. Pained him small. But he remembered something important. Noise does not move car. Engine does. So he kept building, kept refining, kept improving. From mechanic yard to small office. With support from investors, Cola moved operations to a tiny office in Yaba. The office had 1 plastic table, 2 chairs that made sound when you sit, a standing fan that needed encouragement to rotate. But to Cola, felt like Silicon Valley. The first time he wore a suit for a meeting, he felt like engine inside wrapper. Uncomfortable. He looked at himself in the mirror. Don't forget Mushin. He still spoke pidgin. Still visited the workshop. Still respected Baba Sakiru. But now, people were calling him CEO. The big test. A major transport company agreed to test his device on 100 vehicles. If it failed, his name would scatter across Lagos faster than celebrity scandal. If it worked, his destiny would accelerate. The night before installation, Cola couldn't sleep. He stared at the ceiling and whispered, "God, no let me disgrace myself." 1 month later, results came back. Fuel consumption reduced. Maintenance costs dropped. Performance improved. The company signed a long-term contract. That was the moment Lagos stopped laughing at him and started clapping. But success attracts attention. As contracts increased and money began flowing, bigger companies started noticing. Some impressed, some threatened, because the mechanic boy from Mushin was no longer under cars. He was now under spotlight. And in Lagos, when light shines too bright, shadows also appear. By the time Cola's company started making serious noise in Lagos, life stopped being simple. Success in Lagos does not come quietly. Comes with traffic, and siren, and enemies. From Yaba office to Victoria Island meetings. Cola's small Yaba office soon became too small. Contracts were increasing. Transport companies were signing deals. Even corporate fleets wanted his fuel optimization system. He started attending meetings in Victoria Island. The first time he entered a glass building with automatic doors, he almost stepped back. The door opened by itself. He whispered, "Even door get respect here." Inside the boardroom, executives spoke grammar like it was competition. Market penetration, scalability, projected revenue growth. Kola nodded seriously. Inside his head, just make engine behave and money enter. When it was his turn to speak, he said calmly, "Our product reduces fuel cost. That means higher profit for you." Silence. Then nodding. Sometimes, simplicity defeats complexity. The first major attack. But as his company grew, so did opposition. One large automotive company, threatened by Kola's rapid rise, launched a similar product. Cheaper, flashier packaging, big billboard advertisements. Rumors started spreading. They say Kola copied foreign technology. They say his device damages engines long term. They say he no even go school. Lagos loves gist, especially negative gist. Sales dropped slightly. Distributors began hesitating. Even one investor called him, "Kola, is there anything we should know?" That question hurt more than insult. The night of doubt. That night, Kola drove alone across Third Mainland Bridge. The city lights reflected on the water. For the first time in years, doubt knocked. What if they're right? What if this is where it ends? He parked by the roadside and remembered Mushin. Remembered holding torchlight. Remembered being laughed at. Then he laughed softly. "If I survive Mechanic Yard, I go survive this one." Comedy in crisis. The next morning he called his team. Instead of panicking, he said, "So dem don copy us?" His engineer replied nervously, "Yes, sir." Kola smiled. "Good. That means we're important." The room relaxed. Then he added, "If dem copy version 1, we go release version 2. That was Lagos thinking. Forward only. Innovation strikes back. Kola and his team worked day and night. They upgraded the device. More efficient. Smarter software integration. Harder to duplicate. They also did something unexpected. Instead of fighting rumors with anger, Kola publicly invited independent auto engineers to test his product live. At a demonstration event in Ikja, dozens of mechanics, engineers, and transport operators gathered. One mechanic shouted jokingly, "If this thing spoil engine, we go carry you." Everybody laughed. Kola grinned. "Test them first." The results spoke clearly. Performance improved. Fuel savings verified. Applause filled the hall. And just like that, rumors began dying quietly. Because in Lagos, proof is louder than propaganda. Months later, the Lagos State Transport Authority approved his technology for integration into public buses. That announcement changed everything. Investors increased funding. Partnerships expanded. Production scaled. Kola moved headquarters to a sleek office in Victoria Island. From holding spanner in Mushin to holding board meetings overlooking the Atlantic. But he never stopped laughing. Even during serious presentations, he would sometimes say, "Let's not overcomplicate it. Engine no like confusion." Executives would chuckle, but they respected him. The billionaire moment. By his mid-30s, Kola's company expanded across Africa. Electric buses, smart fleet systems, automotive tech innovation hubs. His net worth crossed into billions. One day, standing in his high-rise office, he looked down at Lagos traffic. Cars moving, buses honking, people hustling. He smiled. Somewhere in Mushin, a small boy was probably holding torchlight right now. And maybe, just maybe, dreaming bigger than grease-stained hands. But Lagos never stops testing. As Kola celebrated expansion, a new global competitor announced entry into Nigeria. Bigger money, bigger influence, bigger ambition. And this time, it wasn't just about fuel devices. It was about dominating Africa's entire automotive future. Kola had just his tie, smiled, and said quietly, "Let's see who really understands Lagos." Kola's story is not just about becoming a billionaire in Lagos. It's about mindset. It's about refusing to let your starting point decide your destination. He started under a broken Corolla, hands stained with grease, shoes worn out, no degree, no connections. But he had curiosity, courage, consistency, and Lagos-level stubbornness. He failed. He was mocked. He was doubted. He was copied. Yet he kept tightening his destiny bolt. And one day, the same city that ignored him began celebrating him. Light bulb, the real lesson. You don't need to start big. You need to start. Because today's small boy holding torchlight can become tomorrow's CEO holding industries. In a city where traffic is heavy and competition is louder than generator noise. If you stay focused, if you keep learning, if you refuse to quit, your engine will roar too. If the story inspired you, made you laugh, or reminded you of your own hustle, like this story, subscribe for more powerful, funny, and inspiring Nigerian success stories. More stories are coming. More hustle, more transformation, more Lagos magic. And who knows, the next story might sound a lot like yours.